Hi, this is Ryan Dyson. Welcome to Module 1 of the Idea Hatchery program. Right now, you should have your Idea Hatchery manual and worksheets in front of you because that's what we're going to be doing in this training. We're going to be walking through those handouts that you have, and in this particular training, we're going to be covering the first line, which is who is your market. Now, I know it seems like a lot to spend an entire video talking about just one line, but the truth is this one line is probably the most important line in this entire training. If you get this part wrong, nothing else matters. You can have a great product, you can have a great offer, you can build the right team, but if you position it to the wrong market, if you choose poorly at this stage, it'll all be for naught. Nothing else will matter. So we're going to spend a fair bit of time talking about who your market is and how you can figure out which one and where to start and where you expand to and all that good stuff. But the first kind of thing that I want to talk about is the difference between markets and topics. Because in my experience, most people who are coming into the Idea Hatchery program and most people who come to me with an idea, their idea is just that. It's an idea. It's an idea for a product. It's an idea for a widget. They're thinking, I want to create this little widget that does this thing, or I've got an idea for a software program that'll do this, or I've got an idea for a chemical product that does this, or a product I want to import from China that does that. So people think in terms of products. They don't usually think in terms of markets. And that's a problem. So right now, while you're thinking about your product, I want to talk about the difference between markets and topics. And markets really are the who. So markets are who you're planning to market your product to, and your topic is the what. So again, you probably have your what in mind. You probably know what you intend to sell, but you may not have thought out completely who it is that you plan to sell to, and you may actually be thinking right now that, oh, but my market's everybody with a pulse, or my market's everyone with a computer, or my market's everyone, with a cell phone, or everyone who drinks water. I mean, you may have some grand notions of who your market is, and we'll talk about in just a second. We'll do a little exercise where I can help you drill down a little bit more on exactly who your market is or exactly where you should start. But for now, let's talk a little bit more about the difference between markets and topics so you fully understand that distinction. So let's say, for example, that you're an active day trader and you like to trade Fibonacci levels, and you may be thinking, Fibonacci levels, by the way, if you don't know, they're just a type of trading indicator. There's Bollinger Bands and Fibonacci levels and all kinds of different indicators that systems traders use. So if you don't know what a Fibonacci level is, don't worry about it. But if you did want to create a course on how to trade Fibonacci levels, that would be your topic. That would be your what. But my question to you is, okay, great, but who do you plan on selling that to? And you might say, oh, I want to sell it to everybody who trades the markets. And my argument would be, that's a little broad. You might want to narrow it a little bit, so you might narrow it down to just Forex traders. So I want to teach Forex traders how to trade Fibonacci levels. Again, Forex traders are the who, trading Fibonacci levels are the what. You might also be a marathon runner and you want to create a marathon training guide. In this case, the market would be long distance runners. So you wouldn't want to market to runners in general. I mean, there's a lot of kind of casual, everyday runners who would never in a million years think of running a marathon. There's sprinters, again, so you want to target down and think, who is my actual niche? You might have a really good referral strategy. So maybe you were a trainer, maybe you were a sales trainer, and you did sales training for dentists and chiropractors and other direct sales professionals, and you can show these professionals how they can generate a lot of referral business. And you might say, well, my target market is anyone who has clients and anyone who has clients and wants more of them. Again, I'd say that's a little bit broad. Why don't we narrow it down? Who were the bulk of your clients? Who did you work with the most? And you might say, well, you know what, for the most part, probably 60% of my customer base were chiropractors. I helped out chiropractors. Okay, great. So we're going to start with chiropractors. That's your market. So again, you may have a topic where you can have the exact same topic tweaked slightly to go to a bunch of different markets. So you might have, you could teach the exact same strategy to dentists. That's okay. That's fine. We'll get to that later. For now, I want you to pick one single market. This is a simple one. You might have a topic on how to break 90. In this case, the market would be simple. Golfers, right? You have golfers that are going to want to learn how to break 90. That's a really simple one. If that's your topic, your market would be pretty obvious. Then there's some of them that maybe aren't as obvious. Maybe you want a topic on how to survive a divorce. Now, typically with divorces, there are two parties. There's men, there's women, there's children. There's a lot of ways you could go with that. But you might say, you know what, I want to target recently divorced women. You might even want to narrow that down and say, I want to target recently divorced women who are in their 40s, who are in their 50s, because obviously the issues they deal with are going to be very different from the issues that a woman in her 20s and 30s who's going through a divorce is dealing with. Here's one that's more of a physical product, a grout cleaner. This is actually one of the products that we have, and we had to ask ourselves, we've got this grout cleaner. It's a great cleaner. It does a fantastic job, but we can market direct to homeowners, or we can market direct to professional grout cleaners, and we chose to market our product to professionals. So as opposed to going out there and selling to, mom and pop homeowner, we're going to go out there and sell to the professional grout cleaner who's doing this for a living, because we wanted to sell in greater quantities. So again, this is a product that could have multiple markets. We chose to pick one, and we'll talk in just a little bit about how you're going to go about picking the different products and things like that, or how you go about picking the different markets. Here's another one, organic laundry detergent. So I have an organic laundry detergent. Well, everybody's going green these days, right? I mean, wouldn't everybody be interested in organic laundry detergent? Well, maybe, but where's your low-hanging fruit? In this case, your low-hanging fruit might be cloth diaper moms. So I can speak from experience, because my wife cloth diapers all of our kids. It's a big, colossal pain in the butt. My wife's not all that hippie-ish, but I guess this is kind of her little way of I guess, trying to save the planet. But even still, she would be very interested, and does in fact buy different types of organic laundry detergents just specifically for washing our babies' diapers in. So, again, could organic laundry detergent be marketed to everybody, to the entire world? Should it be on the shelves of H-E-B and Walmart and Randall's, or whatever the, Tom Thumb, whatever the grocery store is for your area? Yes, it probably should be, but when you're just getting started, I want you to hone down and think, who specifically is my market? Here's another good one, dating advice. Man, there's a lot of products out there on dating advice. That's a really competitive market, right? Everybody's out there marketing dating advice to men. There's some dating advice product for women. But what if you said, you know what, I'm going to market a dating advice product to active gamers, to active video game players. There's a lot of people out there who play video games who are probably too busy playing video games to get a date. Kind of an interesting twist, and it might be something that you would want to try. So that's what I want you to be thinking about. Kind of brainstorm. You probably know what your topic is. Again, one of the only requirements for getting into Idea Hatchery was that you had an idea. So you should have a good sense of what your idea is. What I want you to do now, though, is tie that idea to a specific market. Now, again, if you're the type of person who's saying, but my market is everyone, I want you to consider this, okay? Even if your market is eventually has the possibility of being everyone, I really want you to narrow it down like this. I want you to think about it in terms of, yes, but who is my target market? Meaning, where's the low-hanging fruit? And again, the best example for this would be the organic laundry detergent. Yes, a lot of people are going green. A lot of people are going organic. Organic is kind of the big buzzword of the last couple of years. People are buying organic sponges. I don't even know what the heck an organic sponge is, but people are, I saw that advertised on TV the other day. Organic is everywhere, but where is your lowest hanging fruit? When we're first getting started, whether you go on your own or whether you and I partner up in this business, I'm not just going to dump millions of dollars on you in an ad budget. It ain't going to happen. We want to get a proof of concept in the most obvious market, because the truth of the matter is, if you can't sell organic laundry detergent to hippies like my wife who are buying, who are cloth diapering their kids, if they won't buy your organic laundry detergent, then the random lady going to the grocery store to buy our laundry detergent isn't going to buy it. So we need to drill down, who is the lowest hanging fruit? Who's the person who's most likely to buy this? If you can get them to buy it, then you can expand your circle out to people who are qualified. So your target market is a low-hanging fruit. Then outside of that, you have another ring of prospects who are more qualified prospects. So now we might be getting into the folks who are very green conscious, the type of people who drive hybrids, things like that. Outside of that, you've got available. So now you got the people they're conscious, right? They're conscious about the whole green movement. They're conscious about being organic and that being good for you. And so then you might expand the scope to there. Then there's potential. So now we're getting to the people who I can convince that they need it. Now, in the other three rings, the target market, your qualified markets, and your available markets, in those markets, you're not having to convince anybody of anything. They know they have a recognized need or desire for what you're selling. Those are the difference between those first three. Target, qualified, and available, there's a recognized need or desire. In potential, there's people who they're maybe not antagonistic towards it. So I wouldn't, for example, advertise an organic laundry detergent on rushlimbaugh.com. That's not to say that, Republicans and conservatives aren't, green conscious, but for the most part, they're somewhat antagonistic towards a lot of the, global warming stuff. So that they wouldn't necessarily be potential. Okay, they would be outside of that ring of potential. Potential might be somebody who, now I might advertise it on the Huffington Report. We have more liberals going to that because liberals might have the potential to be more organic and green conscious. And again, if you're a Republican, and you're ultra conservative, but you're also into organic stuff, like my wife, for example, I'm not saying those people don't exist. I sleep with one every single night, but they're not the majority, okay? For the most part, you're going to find this in those different types of groups. So that's how I want you to think about it. Where are the potential people? That's where you'll expand to next. That's the next sphere of influence. Then you have the general population, okay? And that's when we tested it in Target and it worked. We expanded it to the qualified people and it worked. We expanded it to the available and it worked. We expanded it to potential and it worked. Now, let's see if we can get this sucker on the shelves in grocery stores. Let's see if we can get this into Walmart. That's when you scope out to the general population. That's how you make that work, but you need to go one step at a time. So right now, go ahead, pause this video and write down who you believe your exact target market is, okay? Your exact target market. Then write down who you think is qualified, who would be in that next kind of scope of influence, who would be available, who would be potential, and start thinking about your markets in terms of scaling it out. Okay, scaling it out. Now, when you go back to your worksheet and you fill out that first line, I want you to write in who the target market is, because that's where we're going to start. But for the sake of these notes, because these notes are going to go in your workbook, I want you to be already thinking right now about who would be the qualified market, who'd be available, who'd be potential. Obviously, general population is general population, but those next three markets, if you were going to scale it out, who would they be? And here's kind of a little case study or exercise that you may find interesting, and it's from a company that you've probably heard of called Facebook. Now, a lot of people look at Facebook. Facebook's got 400 plus million users. So it is safe to say that Facebook appeals to the general population. And you may be sitting there right now thinking, I've got the next Facebook. And maybe you do, okay? Maybe you do have the next Facebook. But even if that's the case, you need to understand Facebook's history, how they started, to understand that I don't care if you have the next Facebook, you don't begin where Facebook has ended right now. You want to look at how Facebook began. So if you go back and you read the history on Facebook, you'll find out that Facebook started and it was only available, it was called The Facebook, and it was only available to students of Harvard University because Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, he was a student at Harvard at the time, and so he created this platform that was just for students at Harvard. That was a low-hanging fruit because he was literally able to walk around his dorm room and say, hey guys, check this out. That's what you want to get in your business. And maybe it's not the kind of thing where you sell it face-to-face, door-to-door, through word of mouth, but you want to know, where is my low-hanging fruit? For him, his low-hanging fruit, he was able to get a proof of concept. He was able to find out if people were interested just by focusing on Harvard. And you had to be in Harvard. People who were outside of Harvard were not welcome to join the Facebook. Then he expanded it to Ivy League schools. He expanded it to Brown and to Yale and all the other schools in the Ivy League network, because Ivy League people, I guess, hang out with Ivy League people. So it expanded there. That was the next scope that he expanded out to. Then he expanded it to college. As long as you're in college, and this was when the Facebook became Facebook, and it officially formed. But a lot of people, if you're fairly new to Facebook, you probably don't realize that unless you were in college, you could not get a Facebook account. You had to say what college you were in, and that had to all be verified and confirmed before you could become a member of Facebook. So again, he purposely limited it. He kept the scale small. Then he expanded it to all students. So now you didn't just have to be in college, you could also be in high school. But again, you had to be in college or high school, and then eventually, and this is fairly recently, that he's expanded it to the general population, and that's where you get the 400 plus million people. But this was how Facebook scaled up. They started with Harvard, they expanded to Ivy League schools, they got a proof of concept there, then they moved out to all colleges, all students, and then to the general population at large. So my advice to you is, if it's good enough for Facebook, it's probably good enough for you. So again, go back, write in these little boxes. I mean, go ahead, and think, who is your Harvard? Oh, sorry about that. Think, who is your Harvard? Who are the companies that, where's the market that would fall in this realm for you? And go ahead and just write it out. Then write out this one. Write out in the space over here. Who would be the all colleges, the all students, general population you don't have to do, but think, who are these, what's your target, and this is the one that's going to go on your page. What's the more obvious, and just keep scaling up. So where are these different markets for you? Again, go ahead, pause this video and write these down. That's why I gave you these handouts. I want you to write these down in your sheets because these are all going to be attached with this particular section in the execution plan that you're creating. And this is going to be the plan moving forward that you use, and I want you to have all these notes in there as you move forward. All right, now, if you're still kind of thinking about, is my market, have I drilled down enough on my market? Do I have a good market? Here's kind of a 20-second litmus test that I want you to run your idea by just to make sure that you've got the right kind of market. Because it is possible to drill down too much, and it's possible to still be too broad. So here's kind of a quick little test that I want you to go under that'll make sure that you got the right kind of market. Does your market self-identify? That's what I want you to ask yourself. Does your market self-identify? And here's what I mean by that. Are there magazines associated with your market? Do they form clubs? Do they form associations? Are there trade shows? Are there membership sites? Support groups? That's a biggie. I mean, a lot of people, don't think maybe you want to go after a particular disorder or help people who are struggling through an addiction. They all have support groups related to those. Forums are a biggie. I'll tell you, if there are forums related to your particular market, you have probably chosen wisely. You've probably chosen well. The same thing, the biggie's really magazines and forums. If there's magazines and forums, then you're in. You're good. You've chosen wisely. If it's business to business, now we're talking about associations and trade shows and things like that, or clubs. But really, do some searching. Do a search for, type in your primary keyword phrase and see if there's any magazines associated with it. So one of the products that we're incubating right now is a cat urine remover. So we go out there, are there any clubs associated? Are there any magazines related to cat owners? Oh yeah, you better believe it. There's lots of pet magazines, and there are magazines that are specific to just cats. There's associations around specific breeds of cats. There are definitely pet-related trade shows. There's membership sites around it. No real support groups, although arguably they should be. But there are forums galore. So if you're really, really into cats, you can find a forum that'll get you involved in all the crazy cat stuff. So that's your 20-second litmus test. If your target market that you've selected passes this test, then go ahead, feel free to write it in your blank. You're done with the first one. All right, so now it's time to move on to part 2, which is the problem drill down. We're going to be answering the second line of our step. So go ahead and move over to that video right now.